G'day everyone and welcome to another African violet video. Today I'm going to be repotting these two new African violet nodes that I got from my local Woolworths into some new potting mix and into some new pots. I'm actually going to put them into some square pots. The reason for that is that I have actually found, and this is not scientific, and it hasn't been sort of determined, but just my experience, I have actually found that African violets seem to grow better in square shaped pots instead of round pots. I don't know why, but just all of my African violets that are in square pots grow amazing. Well, they all grow amazing, but the ones in the square pots seem to grow a lot faster and be a lot happier. So I'm going to put them into some square pots and slightly smaller pots. So first thing we need to do is to take them out of their old pots. So you might find that you break a couple of leaves off. That one's had one broken off previously. So you want to take away a lot of this old soil, because this is it's not bad soil, but it is a little bit compacted. Now, when they've grown these, they look like they've originally grown them in a small pot with some, looks like core. So you can remove some of that if you want, or you can leave it. The plant's quite happy. But you can see here, this plant has another little tiny, it's sported another little, sorry, not sported, it's got a sucker off the side of it, just there, that's coming. But I'm going to leave that there for the moment because I don't mind, that's fine. It's got a few leaves that are getting a bit old, which I'm going to leave for the moment. So we've cleaned most of that off. Now we'll get our pot. Pop a little bit of soil in. Now this is pre-moistened soil. And in a previous video I talked about the soils, what's the best soil in your African violet. Something I did forget to mention is that you can actually also add charcoal in as well, which can also work as just helping to aerate, for drainage and aerating the roots of your plants. So when you putting it in, you don't want to squish down the soil too much. So you can try just tapping it down, and that way it just sort of helps. It just helps keep that aeration in around the roots, and your plants will be happier. So you just put the soil in, and then just give it a tap. There's one that's done, so let's do our other one. So we want to squeeze the side of the pot, reach in underneath the plant and just gently pull it out. And then from the way, see, it's got quite a lot of bark in it. You can see the original, I think it's core, the original little core pot that it was grown in. So I will just remove some of it. And this one's also got a little sucker plant that's coming off, starting to grow there. But I'm just going to leave it because I can't remove that just yet because it's too small. And if I try and remove it just yet, it will die. And if I leave it, then I'll end up with another African violet plant. So a little bit in the bottom. Now with the size pot that you're choosing, you want the African violet roots to take up most of the area in the pot. I would say around 70% of the area. And the reason for that is that African violets like to be root bound. And if they're root bound, they will flower so much better. Because what actually happens is when the roots hit the side of the pot in an African violet, it kind of triggers their survival system. It makes them think that they need to reproduce because their life is in danger. And so when their roots hit the side of the pot and they get root bound, they typically will flower so much better. So give it a tap. Now this tapping is also like earthquaking the pot. So if you've got an African violet plant that's not flowering and everything else you've done is you've fertilized correctly and you've got good soil and water and light and everything, you can try earthquaking the pot, and that's just tapping the pot and squeezing the sides of the pot like this, and that also can trigger the plants to think its life's in danger, and it'll throw out a flower spike and flower. So they're little tips that you can do to try and help get some flowers in the African violets. So there we go. So repotted in their new pot, and I think they're better sized pots for the plant. And also remember that because these plants are new and they could have, I mean, mites can be very tiny and very difficult to spot. So because they could carry diseases, even though they've now been repotted, I will throw this soil out. I won't put them in with the rest of my plants just yet. I will still keep them isolated for the time being, at least for the next month, probably 2 months I'll keep them separate. And when I'm sure that they've got absolutely no diseases or anything, then I'll introduce them. I'll put them in next to my other plants, but otherwise I'll keep them quite separate from them, just to make sure. So I hope this has helped, this video, on what you do when you get a new plant home and just how to repot it up. And I hope you enjoyed watching the video. So thank you for watching.